anytime a Christian tries to go into the abortion debate and even mentions their faith, the first thing that we hear is, you're violating the separation of church and state. You can't do that. So I want to ask you, is that true? And what is the separation of church and state?
Thomas Jefferson, in his letter to the Danbury Baptist, used the wall of separation of church and state. And it was actually, it was a letter that was in response to an inquiry made by the Baptists in Danbury, Connecticut, that objected to their state's taxing scheme, where if you were taxed, there was a portion of the property tax that was allotted to funding of ministers. And so Jefferson, and they objected to it, and because the way in which at least in the early 19th century, things were structured, it really wasn't a federal issue, it was a local issue. States were allowed to have quasi-established churches, even though citizens had robust religious liberty. If a state thought that supporting one church over another advanced the common good, as long as people were still free to join whatever church they wanted, that was considered to be largely permissible. Jefferson himself objected to those arrangements, but the federal government didn't prohibit it. So he writes this, and he talks about the wall of separation of church and state in his letter. It has over time become a kind of shorthand way to describe the relationship between religion and politics. I don't think it's really very informative.
I've heard Dr. Frank Turek, Christian apologist, say it like this as well. The separation of church and state was not to keep Christians out of the state, but to keep the state out of the church originally. And then it just unfolded in various ways, and now it's used as a popular argument. But to say that Christians can't use their faith or be influenced by their faith, kind of to imply that like atheism is true by default. Like only atheists can do that.
And it's a kind of anti-democratic argument. It's a way to kind of get into the cognitive lives of citizens and say there are certain types of reasons that you cannot use.